Ulysses Campbell for Fantastic Forum. We're here in Annapolis at the Annapolis Comic Con, and I'm talking to Dr. Arnold Blumberg. Thanks for being with us, sir.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Now, I understand that you've got a course coming up in Marvel Cinema. Tell us about that.
Well, it's actually at the University of Baltimore, and it's a course called Media Marvels. And I've taught a course in zombies in popular media there for many years, and the Marvel course is sort of an extension of that. We're going to spend the whole semester looking at the Marvel Cinematic Universe of films, the comics that inspired them, some of the peripheral material, and the key element in this course, as in any of these courses, is teaching students critical thinking. What kind of messages do these movies convey? What are the things that these movies tell us about ourselves as people, as a nation, as a culture? They're so popular, it's important to take a look at why that is and what they're saying about us, and that's what we're going to be doing in that course.
Well, now this is something that I take very seriously, obviously you take very seriously, but I think that the general public at large still looks at this as kid stuff.
Yeah.
How did you manage to convince the university that this was a course that they wanted to carry?
The interesting thing is, for the university, that wasn't a problem. I started the zombie course back in 2010 when The Walking Dead was first debuting on television, and there was a bit of a bemused reaction when I first pitched them that idea. Let's teach a course in media awareness and critical thinking by using zombies as a way to get students engaged in something right where they live, where they're interested and excited. And through that, talk about everything from race and gender and class to ethics and morality. I did a little pitch for that, and within about 15-20 minutes, they saw the value in it. By the time I came back now and did the pitch for the Marvel class, they were like, oh, we're doing that. So it wasn't a problem with that. What is continuing to be a problem is just that basic public perception. Oh, everything from the bemused reaction to, oh, isn't this silly, but oh well, to here's why America's going down the tubes. Here's a class that your kid won't learn anything in. Because it goes back to this basic misconception that education is about handing a kid a wrench and teaching them how to fix something. It is not just about training people to have a job. Education is about teaching people to be informed and literate citizens. And in a world in which we have devices in our pockets that are delivering media and advertising to us 24/7, we need to teach students to be aware of that media and what it's telling them. And it's also not that they're stupid or ignorant, it's just that we let a lot of this wash over us, no matter how intelligent we are. But as an example, Captain America the Winter Soldier is an incredibly exciting and popular movie that has Cap jumping around with a shield, having a great time, defeating Hydra, and yet it also has pointed political commentary about NSA surveillance, drone strikes, and a lot more. You have to look at that level too, and that's important. And probably the saddest I've been is seeing comic book and pop culture media outlets saying the same thing I would have expected from some news venues, like, oh, what a waste of time this is. If anyone should understand how important it is, it should be fellow comic book fans, and hopefully eventually they'll realize that.
Well, this is some pretty heady stuff. I'm fascinated by the point of view that this is more about critical thinking, because I absolutely agree. And I think that one of the areas that people get confused about, particularly with zombie fiction, is that zombie fiction isn't so much about the zombies, it's about the way that people break down when society around them breaks down and how they interact. So the fact that you've been shrewd enough to recognize this and now utilize it teaching students, it's phenomenal. Now, how have the students who have taken the zombie course responded to it?
Well, initially you get a group of students in with any course like this, and it's whether it's zombies or comics, and I've taught comic book literature for years, general comic book literature. It's obvious. I mean, a lot of students are going to sign them and go, ooh, comics, here's the easy A. First you have to convince the people behind the scenes it's not an easy A. Then you have to spend the rest of the class showing them, no, you're going to have to do work. You have to think, you have to present an opinion, you have to write papers. And what comes out of it eventually is, I do find anyway, there's a percentage in every one of these classes, like say out of 45, 50 students, there's usually about 5 to 10% that are really dedicated fans of whatever the genre is. And that's fine, because they'll also hopefully grow to appreciate the other level, see the work that needs to be done, and maybe learn something even they didn't know. Then you get 5 to 10% that are completely disengaged. They're taking it because it's a requirement, and they're either going to realize what they need to do or not. And then you have everybody in the middle. And by the end of a semester, it's very gratifying because you do always get a group of students who will say, I never would have thought about this before. Probably my biggest victories are the people that come either during the semester or after and say, thank you very much, you've ruined all movies for me now, because now I can't, and they'll say, like, I just watched my favorite movie last night and now I know the whole thing's a commentary on race and gender and I didn't know that, you ruined it. And I'm like, well, why should I be the only one that suffers? So there you go. But it shows that it does work. It does work. And if the students are interested, they'll find that out. And that's why you have to teach these kind of topics. You can't just continue to recycle the same old dusty canon. As relevant as some of that still can be, and as important as some of that still is to teach, it's the stuff we're dealing with right here and now. That's where our cultural conversation is taking place. So that's why it's important to teach a class not necessarily just in Shakespeare or Beowulf, but in Captain America or Zombieland, because that's where we're talking to one another. And as I said, at the end of the semester, you find out that people start to click into it, and it's very satisfying when that happens.
Are you aware of any other courses of similar nature that are being taught at other educational institutions?
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm certainly not alone. I wasn't the first one to teach a lot of things, either comic book literature or zombies. In some respects, I think I was in one of the early waves of the growth of zombies in academia. A lot more courses followed the one at UB. The one thing that we are sort of proud of with the Marvel one is, although there are many courses out there, and again, I wasn't the first to teach comic book literature, I've also taught general courses in superhero mythology overall, and many have. We do believe, and so far the evidence seems to suggest we are, the first ever course nationwide that is specifically focusing on the Marvel Cinematic Universe itself for that whole semester. And although people may think that's silly, again, there's, believe me, more than enough material to make that semester go pretty quickly. And I'm sure we won't be the last.
Well, I'm quite sure. And you got me excited. I'd love to come and audit the course.
You'll have to sit in, sure, anytime. Even with the Superman on, you'll be welcome into the Marvel class. You could come on in. It's all right.
Well, I've got a Captain America one also.
Oh, good. Dress for the occasion then. That'll be perfect.
Yeah. Now, if people wanted to find out more or even to enroll in the class, how could they go about doing so?
Well, you can go to the University of Baltimore website at ubalt.edu. It is a course that right now is only available for students that are already enrolled in UB who are attending in person. Probably the number one question that comes up is, can I take it online? Do I have to be a UB student? Unfortunately, yes. The answer is you do, and it's not online yet. I would be thrilled to do many of the things I do online. That's not necessarily as up to me as it is to the universities I work for, but hopefully in the future we'll explore those alternatives too.
Absolutely. And you are a trailblazer in this, and so I'm looking forward to continuing to watch as you blaze the trail and move forward in a forerunner, educating the public and informing everybody.
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to blaze that trail, and I'm happy that you wanted to talk to me about it. It was a real pleasure.
The pleasure is mine. Ulysses Campbell for Fantastic Forum at the Annapolis Comic Con. We'll be right back.